All right, so another win and another reduction in the magic number. So we went from 12 to 11. And I think everybody knows out there that that number is going to come down further and further. It's not just going to be one number per match day, but that's pretty much how it's been since we started this. But at any given point, I think that will happen. But there's no guarantee that Napoli's not going to drop a point here or there. I mean, they could get a draw in either of these first upcoming games at home because they're going to be against two teams that are fighting to get into the top four.
Yep.
But let's talk about those teams in their form right now and if we foresee that they are anything of an issue to deal with for Napoli, right? So Milan, Inter, Lazio, Roma, they all won. Atalanta lost at home, surprisingly, to Lecce, and
Yep.
nobody drew. So I think since Napoli's been on this run of this winning streak, I think this is one of those match days where a lot of the teams that are would-be contenders got away with the result. Do you think that means anything for us at all, being 15 points up on everybody? Just checking
No.
real quick.
No.
Okay, yeah, me neither.
If
Me
our form
neither.
was worrisome, then we could be talking about something
Yeah,
like that. But
yeah,
no,
man. I
they could
mean,
win out as well. We'll do the same thing, and then we'll drop a couple points here and there. Even if they win and they won't win out, second place will not win out. Even if they do, we could do the same.
so are you still sticking with the fact that you think the clincher could be in Torino?
Oh yeah, that's not changing. That's just gonna stick with that. That's what I want to happen. That'd be great because obviously I want to celebrate the Scudetto in Napoli on the last day. So doing that away over there would be so sweet.
It's getting
Yep.
closer and closer, man, and the excitement is building. Uh, but that's the form that they've gotten the domestic league. But let's talk a little bit more about the disrespect that's going on in the Champions League from different pundits and different media outlets, especially ones that are really out there just to support the Premier League. So I'm sure that you've seen the posts that have been out there and the discussions that have been made on who is the best and or informed striker right now, and maybe even some of the best players throughout Europe. And there's been a couple where Victor Osimhen wasn't even on that list of the top four players. Can you believe that bullshit?
Can I believe it? Yes, just because there's so many idiots out there, so many of them, and they're always most of them seem to be the prem heads, man. I don't get it. They're just so egotistical and they're just so prideful about what they have. Yet they always tend to get players from our league. Why are you buying our quote unquote bad players and then bringing them into your league? I don't know. Like we get into the debate about Italians, or I'm sorry, Italian teams not being good. Why is there three in Champions League right now? Still, Milan beating Tottenham 1-0, a Prem League team. Liverpool losing 2-5, a Prem League team. Borussia Dortmund beating Chelsea 1-0, a Prem League team. I can keep going. I think all of them lost. I think all of them lost.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
No,
but even then, embarrassing.
I'll be I'll be honest with you, Marty. It pisses me off. It
Yeah,
really does because
they talk so
it
much.
just seems like yeah, and it just seems like it's something that's being sort of like done on purpose. Like they know better,
Yeah,
but they don't want to admit it. And our good friend Oma, he was at the game last night and he did a little interview with another journalist, I believe that was there. I really don't know his name off the top of my head, but they were talking about how Napoli's playing and then how Victor is the best striker in Europe right now. And there
of course.
shouldn't be a debate about that.
Right
There really
now,
shouldn't.
Osimhen. Yes.
Yes, I went back and forth with somebody else that mentioned why Rashford is considered that way and how
Oh,
many goals he's
yeah.
scored, right? If you take the goals per game for Rashford and Osimhen, there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
It's like 20% different with Osimhen scoring more often than Rashford has, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. Rashford is a great player. Holland is a
Yeah. Yeah.
great player. Mbappe is a great player. Cavada was on one of those lists and Victor wasn't. You know, but for me,
Oh,
man, Holland is I love Holland, man. I love watching that dude play. He's a specimen. but that dude gets a lot of goals that are tap-ins just in front of goal. He's had 4 penalty kick goals in the Premier League. So Victor hasn't he's had none. He's had 1 shot. I don't even know if it was in Serie A, but he had 1 penalty kick that he missed. He had that penalty kick in the Coppa Italia, but he is not a penalty kick taker for our team.
Right.
So I just don't understand why it continues to be a thing where he's not getting his props. It's getting old, bro.
Yeah.
It's getting old.
I know
I'm
why.
really
There's
getting
two
annoyed
reasons
by it.
why. For one, he plays in Serie A. For two, he's Nigerian. So that's that.
Well, I hope Victor is watching what's being put out on social media, is listening to some of the things, whether he's on YouTube or he gets on TV. I hope he sees this man because this is something for him to motivate him even more to just play the way he's playing. And eventually they're gonna have to give him the respect that he deserves. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. I believe that.
With the trophies, it'll come. But if he was in the Premier League doing what he's doing, oh my gosh, we wouldn't hear the end of it.
You know, and there's people that are talking about if Holland was in the Serie A that he would have like 10 more goals or what. No, it's the opposite. If
Yeah, it'd
Holland
be the
was playing in
opposite.
Serie A, he'd have 10 less goals.
Yeah.
If Victor was
Ah,
playing in Premier League, he'd be sitting on 30 right now, probably, right?
yeah, 25, 30. Yeah, I could see that.
So, talking about the disrespect that Napoli's getting in the Champions, talking about, Victor Osimhen not getting his props and just about our players in general, I had an idea about doing something for the rest of the season up until we get to the point where we clinch the Scudetto. Why don't we start putting out a poll once a week or so, asking people who their favorite and best players are from the ADL era for Napoli at each position. And then once we get down to the end, we'll take all that, we'll put it together, and we'll present a best and favorites starting 11 in the ADL era for Napoli. Does that sound like fun, man?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man. And I'll put out the first poll sometime this week. I haven't decided what position yet. I just thought about this to be honest. The Rant did a really, really good segment on the best trident in the ADL area in the ADL era, and that was really fun to listen to and just think about all the different players that you could pick. I mean, there are so many different combinations that you can come up with
Yeah, no.
for the best trident in the ADL area in the ADL era. And I'm excited to do, a starting 11 for the ADL area. I really am. So we'll start doing that. I'll put out the first poll this week. And then something else, man. So we've been talking about the next giveaway and how we need to get to 500 subscribers so we can celebrate that. And I think we broke 350 here recently. But if you're out there and you're listening to this, please make sure you've subscribed. Please give us a like and please share it with all your family and friends because the quicker we can get to 500 subscribers, the better so that we can get this next giveaway taken care of. We don't have a whole lot to talk about in the transfer market, Mario, but you did touch a little bit on what ADL said about Lozano. Let's go back to that for a second. So we all know that Lozano has made comments where he wants to play for a bigger team, but that was a while ago. And Napoli now is a much bigger team than they were before. Do you think Chucky is thinking twice about that right now? Do you think that there's anything going through his mind of what he might be thinking about and staying in Napoli? Do you think that that's going on? Chucky first, and then we'll talk about ADL.
If he still is getting split times with Politano or anybody at that position, I don't think it's anything like in his head. He's not thinking about it at all. If he's starting with us, sure, you could say that he's thinking about it. He wants to play. We can see that. Politano wants to play. We can see that too. He looked frustrated on the bench after the Frankfurt game when people were celebrating. He was just sitting there with his shirt off. But me personally, get this guy an extension, man. Uh, Especially if he closes out like this. I understand his market value is slowly going up now as well. You know, he would be a good sell off just because he is still a risky player for us. We don't know how he really will perform. His consistency has always been a questionable thing for him, but the talent's there, the charisma's there, the motivation's there. He plays hard every game, you know, and I love that shit about players. I love that. Ezequiel Lavetti, for example. You know, like when he first started playing with us under Gattuso, I was making comparisons with him on the Lavezzi. Now, not as much, maybe, right? He plays on the right wing. He plays a little bit more tactically, not as persistent, just on speed and going down the field. He brings the ball back some more. You know, he's a different player. He's evolved with us slowly, and mind you, he's been under 2 or 3 different coaches. So, you know, it all makes sense. But yeah, if he does not get consistent time, he's not going to stick with us now. I don't think so.
Do you think that one of the other things that maybe is getting more improved and is he's building a better relationship in the locker room with his players and his coaching staff? Because I felt like that was an issue. Do you think that that's getting better?
I never really saw it as an issue. Maybe like with the fans, he had that kind of troublesome relationship with just because of what he said. But in the locker room, I never really saw that issue. We saw locker room issues with other players, though, you know. But Lozano, no. Maybe like with the coach as well. Maybe you could argue that he had problems with like Gattuso. You know, they would chirp back and forth. But that's how Reno is. You know, he's a gritty guy. He's hard headed. So they probably just clashed every now and then, and that's normal, you know. But under Spalletti, I love the guy, man. I just wish he was more consistent. That's all. That's all I asked for.
You know, and our brother Dom, that's cutting hair again in New York. He just posted some stuff on Twitter about cutting hair again and all that. I'm glad for him, but you know, there was some discussions going on Twitter, and he was involved in those. And one of the things that he said is that he could see Lozano extending if Lozano was willing to take a pay cut. Do you think that if Lozano know he's the regular starter, right? Do you think that he would be willing to take any type of pay cut?
You know what? No. Only reason I'm saying that is because there's
Uh,
people that are willing to pay a lot more for
yeah,
him. You know,
yeah.
just like same with Aussie, man. Like if he was to leave, you know, I'm not hoping for that, but I'm saying like people will splash cash for these guys, man. And ADL loves the cash flow, and we have talent, and our right wing position is eh. So why not invest in something else and get some cash for someone that's already proven himself, but also hasn't been the best for us, you know? So I don't know. I think he leaves. He wouldn't take a pay cut. Um, I don't think so. I just
You know,
don't see it.
I do think that we should come back to this at the end of the season and see how Chucky plays the rest of the season, including the Champions League games, and
Yeah,
see where he's sitting at then. See if ADL has said anything else. Because, you know, you mentioned ADL a little bit right there, right? So ADL said that, you know, he wants to keep his best players and he considers Lozano one of the best players. So I probably don't have that quote exactly that way, but that was the message that he was conveying. But he
yeah,
also said that he doesn't want to do that, but if crazy offers comes in,
yeah. You
he
can't ignore
said
him, you know.
he said never say never. So, but he
Yeah,
said that before, and I think all he's doing, to be honest, more than anything, is he is just trying to make sure that their value goes up and up and up, so that whenever it comes to the moment, like if he has to sell a player, that their value is maximized. So I
right.
understand his
Yeah,
strategy there. I just hope that the fans don't take it the wrong way because ADL and the fans this year, they are creating that intimate relationship that I think is extremely important with the president, the owner of a club, and the fans. And I don't want that to level off. I want it to keep on going up.
with that being
So
said, do you
hopefully,
think all those spray painted things across the city about ADL being a lotta will be covered?
I don't know. You know what? The next time I'm there, I'm gonna go to the Lazio game. So
Yeah,
that's in it's not this upcoming weekend, but the next one. I'll pay attention to that and
yeah.
see if
I'm just curious. I don't
there's
know.
anything that I notice because there hasn't been any chirping for pretty much the whole season.
The
Once they
beginning, yes, obviously just because it was fresh and brand new, but yeah, it's
Yeah, but
slowly diminished slowly. Yeah, because we
dude,
started
I
off
don't
strong
feel
with it.
like that. I don't feel like that, Mata. I feel like it took like 2 matches for the fans to stop chirping that A16 bullshit. When I went to D'Amato in the summer, that was crazy how much disrespect that they were throwing at the club in general. And Spalletti, he even had to get up on the stage and
Yeah, I
pretty much
remember.
tell people to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think I think that it was something that pretty much disappeared at the very beginning of the season, and I just don't want any of that stuff to start because we don't need any drama. So what does that mean? That means that maybe ADL should stop doing interviews. you know, I mean, because
he's been doing
sometimes
great.
things,
Though. He's been doing
yeah, but
great.
sometimes,
He's
man,
happy. You see
but
how happy he
sometimes
looks?
he does look happy, but I'm just nervous that he's going to say the wrong thing and it's going to cause some drama.
He's
So
already said
hopefully,
the wrong thing is like sarcastically. I mean, at this
yeah.
point, he can say what he wants.
All right. Well, let's see what else we got to talk about. Oh man. So the kit that they're wearing in the game last night, that kit is now available online, and I'm hoping it's going to be in the official store when I go back to Napoli, because I would really like to get a Kim kit and hopefully add him to my collection. What do you think about that kit with the
Heck yeah,
gray faded sleeve? That's nice, isn't it?
it's nice. It's very clean.
Yeah, I like it too, man. So we'll see what that looks like up close and personal, and hopefully there'll be a 10XL available still when I get there. All right, so that's the end of talking about our club. And if you stay tuned here, then you can listen to the next part, which is just going to be some of the food that I was able to eat on this last trip.